Good morning, everybody. It is June 25th, and we're here for our morning webinar for educators. I'm glad to have you here and joining us today. My name is Hillary Hunt. I serve as the director of the Making Sense project, and today we are doing a 6 in 60 on financial education games. This project is a partnership between the Pennsylvania Department of Education and Penn State University. With all of our webinars, in total, we try to enhance content knowledge, highlight financial literacy resources, and share professional information. This one, we are definitely focusing in on that center component, highlighting financial literacy resources. So, with that, let's get started. I have, I think, the longest slide deck I've ever had for one of these. I have 171 slides, which makes my head spin just thinking about getting through 6 online games in 60 minutes or less. So, this is our topic. Game on, using financial or free online games to engage students, all with a financial literacy theme. So which ones are we going to talk about today? Our 6 resources. The first 4 of these all come from NGPF, Next Gen Personal Finance. They're called Build Your Stacks, Cat Insanity, Payback, and Shady Sam. The next one is Claim Your Future. That is from up in Maine. And the last one, technically 2, but they're really similar, are from Visa, Financial Football, and Financial Soccer. So these are the 6 resources that we are going to be going through today. Okay, just before we start, I think the benefits of using games are probably obvious for a lot of you. I know that it's one of the questions I get a lot of times from teachers is, do you have ideas for how we can spice things up, things that are, sort of improve engagement, get kids excited, and games, are certainly one of those things that you can do. So it gives an opportunity for some really great practice. You can increase student motivation, allows for some friendly competition, and offers opportunities for strategizing, which we're going to talk about in a couple of these games in particular, and certainly a way that you can either introduce or reinforce content. And I'll talk, as I talk through each of the games, we'll talk through which of those are maybe better for introducing, which rather than reinforcing. Certainly the Financial Football and Financial Soccer are ones that are much better as a review kind of game, or just to sort of see what students know. You could use it in a sense of pre-testing, but it tends to work a little bit better after students have already gotten some content. So let's start and kick things off here with resource number 1. This is a relatively new game from NGPF. Again, that's Next Gen Personal Finance. And in this game, you are trying to make 20 years of investment decisions in 20 minutes. So the way that the game works is each minute of the game represents a year of investment time, and there are 20 years of investments. Now, that means that in theory, you can go through the entire game in 20 minutes. It is likely going to take longer, especially if you play this more than one time. It'll take considerably longer, probably the first time that you play it, and I'll explain more about that in a few minutes. The website for this is buildyourstacks.com, and this is, again, sort of a really neat opportunity for simulating some investment decisions. So let me show you, first of all, I want to talk about just sort of a little bit about when to play and ways to play. This one, it really can be used to kick off an investing unit. You could use it several times throughout an investment unit. I've heard of teachers where they'll do it, say, even throughout a semester. They might do it, like once every Friday, as students learn more and have different approaches to their strategy. Or you can use it as a capstone and end a unit on investing with this. You can play, have students play either as individuals, where they play against the computer. The computer always invests in an index fund, doesn't invest in any other ways. And so that's sort of an interesting benchmark. The computer plays along with you as well in a group setting. And the group seems to be what most teachers tend to like the best in terms of their ability to have some hopefully healthy competition. There's a leaderboard that goes throughout the game, so you can see which students are in the lead, and by how, which one has the highest investment value at that point. And you can just let it go, or you can pause at different points for debriefing and instruction. And there's a really natural way actually in the game to facilitate that on your end as the educator. So let me just show you what this looks like. I took some screenshots, so this group code isn't going to work for us right now, so don't try that. But when you begin, you have a choice. It begins with having an opportunity to play in a group or on your own. So if I choose to play in a group, I can either create a group or I can join a group. So you as the educator would obviously want to be the one that creates the group. And when you do, you're going to have a group code, okay? So that gives you the group code that you can share with your students, and this is just for one game, okay? So once this is closed out, that won't work anymore. When students log in, then their names will begin to show, and then they have to go through a brief tutorial, at which point then they'll be marked as ready. So you know which students have proceeded through the tutorial and which ones haven't, and when everyone is ready to join the game. So there is a little bit of wait time in this, depending on how you facilitate it, for everybody to get through the tutorial, and at various points when there's sort of these mini lessons or micro lessons in the game. So this is what it looks like when I went in to join using that code. So I entered the code that I was given. I put in my first name, I put in my last initial, and I chose join group. So this is what the student would see, right? They've been given the code by you, the educator. They're inputting their information, and they're going to join the group. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about this little quick tutorial. So the first step, so what are there, 7 steps here? You have 20 years to make some moolah. The bar will go down over the course of 1 year. And by the bar, they're talking about this one, so your time dwindles down there. Next, every 6 months, your pocket cash will refill with money you can invest. Okay, so this is money that you can invest every 6 months. You get an additional amount of pocket cash. There are 7 different investment opportunities you can unlock throughout the game. All right, so each of these appears one at a time, so students don't just all of a sudden have 7 different options. They get one, they're introduced to what it is, and then they play with that or invest with that, and then they keep going. When an investment is unlocked, it will open a lesson to explain how it works. So with each of those different investments, they get, again, that little micro lesson. If you need a refresher on any of the investment types, click the question mark icon. So on each one of the investment types, there's a little question mark, and the participants can, or students can click on that to learn more. Anytime you see this symbol, it gives you the ability to toggle and see your balance or your profit. So for example, if you want to see how much money you've made in your savings account, you would choose profit. If you want to see the current balance, you would select balance, and that's the button that toggles you back and forth. At the same time, you can always view your entire portfolio. You can see the leaderboard and see any achievements that you have. So this is what it'll look like once students then have proceeded through that little tutorial until all of the other students have made their way through, and the teacher on their end sees that everybody is ready. So here, for example, it shows I recruited my husband to join me when I was doing this, so that I'd have another participant, somebody that I could try and beat as I played the game. So at this point, we were both ready, and I could then start the game. So I was able to do this both to participate. So if you want to participate along with your students, just open it up as in another tab or another window. But keep yours open as the educator with where the group is. But then you can also participate along with students and create your own student ID for use in that single game. This does not store student information or your or the overall information. You can't go back in and access it again later. So anything that you want to capture that while you're playing. Okay, so in the beginning, this is one of those quick little micro lessons that I was talking about. Students will get these for every investment type. So here are savings accounts. Instead of hoarding your money in your pocket, put it in a savings account with a low interest rate. You won't make a ton of money, but you won't lose it or lose money. It's not like it was making money in your pocket anyways. This is a great way to build up an emergency fund for surprise situations that might pipe up in real life and in this game, like medical bills or car repairs. So these are some examples of some of those things that pop up throughout the game. I got other ones, but this was just a selection. I would say that the majority of mine that I got were ones where I needed to come up with some cash. Only two of them, I think, were ones where I ended up receiving money. In this case, your cat has gone viral, the dumb video of your cat fighting with its reflection. The internet loves it. You're gaining followers by the second, and advertisers are knocking at your door. Receive $500. Let's see. This one, ding dong, wedding bells are ringing. Ah, sweet love, a big commitment like this demands a big ceremony, and that'll cost a pretty penny, $7,000. Pay with pocket cash or find funds. So again, in each of these situations, you have to find some money or you receive money. So very similar to other games that you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with. So these are some examples of some of the just beginning content for each of the micro lessons. So we get one on certificate of deposit, government bonds, index fund, gold. There's also commodities, and I'm missing one of the others. 4, 5, 6. It'll come to me in a minute. Oh, individual stocks. That's the other one. So each time that you get one of these, then it'll say waiting on other players. So again, like with the beginning introduction with the tutorial, the teacher it basically waits till everybody pauses everybody so that you can get sort of to the same place at the same time. That way, you're playing in real time against the other players. Teachers on their end you do have the option to unpause and just let students go ahead free range. That tends to work really well, especially if you're playing it the second or third time. My recommendation would be that the first time that you play it, that you go ahead and allow for those pauses to occur throughout the game. So anyhow, once you keep going, this is part way through the game. So at this point, I've been able to put money in a savings account, certificate of deposit, an index fund, or individual stocks. So this is what this screen would look like for the student after only 4 of those different saving or investing options has unlocked. And you can see over here that I have $7,412.99 in pocket cash. That's money that I could be investing right now in the game. This is at year 6 of 20, and year 6 is already over halfway over. So if I wanted to put more money into my index funds or into stocks, I can do that. You can see right now, this is where that point about toggling comes in. So you can see here that right now I'm showing profit as opposed to balance. So this shows me in particular which of my stocks are performing well and which ones I currently would have a loss on. I can expand the leaderboard, achievements, and portfolio as well at any time throughout the game. So again, this is what it looks like for the teacher. So at this point, there's 12 minutes and 39 seconds remaining. We are currently at year 7, and I can look and see, okay, the computer is at 48,000, Wade is at 38, Hillary's at 37. So you can see all of your students here, and see where things are. If you want to at any time manually pause the game, you can do that. So say, for example, students are getting out of control, they're like, the competition's getting a little too fierce, you need to like just, call timeout, you can pause. Or if you, like, somebody asks you a question, you're like, wow, great teachable moment, pause the game, take a second, debrief that, do what you need to do, and then go ahead and resume the game for everybody. And I really love that feature. You'll also see here this link to the accompanying worksheet, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. So here we have all 6, this is at year 10, now I have all 7 of the different investments that are options. So in addition to the ones we saw before, we now have government bonds, corn, so they talk about commodities, and gold. So there's some neat additions, sort of goes a little bit beyond just the sort of the usual, if you will. So this is great. And again, when you have the options to buy and sell, you can sell, for example, this is 1 share, 10 shares, 25 shares, or the maximum number. You get this again over here and different places. And then if you were to buy a bond or a certificate of deposit, it allows you to select for how many years as well, and shows you what the interest rate would be on each of those. So here, so here's just, this is year 10, this is year 14. You can see now my overall net worth is 151,197, and I'm doing okay, but I'm still nowhere close to what the computer was. So it really is going to vary depending on what you choose to do, and at what point you want to, how much you want to put into invest in individual stocks versus in your index fund or wherever else that you want to choose to do that. So here I just started buying some more individual stocks, and that obviously had an impact on the volatility of my investment and my net worth. I still have a lot of pocket cash, so each time you're getting more money, you have another choice as to how to invest that. So how much are you going to leave in cash? So I started really putting out large chunks of change at a time. So again, at the end of it, in 20 years, I made $278,464.99. Assuming you maintain a reasonable yearly growth at 6%, you could retire in another 20 years with $893,000. So the total income received, total earnings, your highest performer, your lowest performer, and then this gives an indication of where, how the index fund, or how my investment portfolio, I had the majority of the money in the index fund in this round. So took different approaches. Or you can take different approaches, obviously, as you can in the real world of investing, and then where I ended up in the leaderboard. So this game comes with a lot of nice support pieces. There's a teacher guide that has information, and with the worksheet, there is also then an answer key, but you have to have a NGPF teacher account in order to access that. So there's some options that they suggest, that you can do this in an experiential learning method, where you have them explore the game in group mode. Students complete the worksheet, and then you facilitate a discussion and help to fill knowledge gaps. You can go back through each of the asset classes, and they provide a slide deck with that content. And then students then decide what they're going to do the next time, and then they replay the game. So that's one method that they suggest using. Or they have a different way of doing it. At the beginning of the game, when the first investment saving appears, model how to deposit money into the account and that it flows from pocket money as each investment is unlocked. Walk through the asset class side deck of screen capture, and then when the 4 to 5 stocks first appear on the investing dashboard, explain how to purchase shares. So you can show them, show it like up on the screen, or you can just have students dive in. It's kind of your option. After the 10-year mark, all investments will be unlocked. Use this opportunity to show students the leaderboard as well as the portfolio bar chart. So this is just sort of a more a slower approach, I guess, a less students dive in. This is more you showing things and walking through. So there's some additional information here with each of the different descriptions of the different components here, and some possible discussion questions that you could pose to students as you're working your way through the game. Then there's some NGPF activities that would supplement this as well, and they also have this nice PDF that sort of shows what this looks like on a student's screen. How many years, the piggy bank. It gives some hints, sometimes misleading, what your pocket cash is. Sort of just explains what is there on the screen for the students. So this is what the students will see in their the student worksheet. So they get a little cheat sheet here with some basic information that can be pushed out, by the way, through this. Everything is in Google Docs, so that can be pushed out through Google Classroom if you use that. I like some of the reflection questions. So some of it is just having them capture where they ended up at the end. But then looking at it and say, did you finish the game with a diversified portfolio? Describe your investment strategy as you played the game. What was your plan when you first started? How did it change during the course of the game? If you didn't have a strategy, why not? Describe the various emotions you felt. I love this piece. Did you get nervous? Did you get excited? Did you get impulsive? What were your, were you fearful? What was driving you to make those decisions? Those of you who are involved in our book study right now on how people think about money, emotion plays a big part of things. So great opportunity to sort of, think about these things. What strategy did the computer follow, and why do you think that strategy was so successful in beating so many of the students in your class? And then I loved this one. Your friend brags it was easy to try beating, or it was easy trying to beat the computer in the stacks games. I made $100,000 more with my strategy of actively trading those individual stocks. Why would you want to just buy an index fund? It's so much fun to try to beat the market. How would you respond? If you had the opportunity to play stacks a second time, what would you do to your strategy? What do you think would be the consequences of having less money saved for retirement? And then a bonus question. So great opportunity to get students to really think again on these. If you want more information on this game, there's a full 1-hour webinar from NGPF, and a great teacher from Ohio who've actually had on a webinar before did a nice 3-minute video called that's also available, and will be linked later on for you guys. All right, so I've used half my time on that, which is about what I expected. So now I got to really fly through the rest. So resource number 2, are we ready? It's not that, it's Cat Insanity. So Cat Insanity is a quick and fun little game where you try and feed cats, and in each round the number of cats increases until you can no longer feed them all and they start to die, which is really sad. And when you play this the first time, or you introduce this to students, if you don't explain to them what it's about, they're probably going to wonder what in the world is this about, and that's kind of the fun of it. So Cat Insanity, you choose a breed. For my first game on this one, I chose the tiger because he's the one that looks the closest to one of my cats. In this case, Tiger needs 4 scoops of food every day and multiplies at a rate of 18%. I get started and there's Tiger. I'm going to click 4 times on each Tiger to feed Tiger so that Tiger doesn't go hungry. I have 15 scoops left. So that's the number of clicks that I'm allowed. So each click is 1 scoop. Your bag refills at the end of each day. Try to feed every cat before the day ends. If a cat isn't fed at all, it will die. If you don't feed a cat all the way, it will multiply faster. Finish feeding this one. So at the end of day 1, I have scored 264 points, and I've fed 2 cats. I have none that are dead and none that are hungry, thank goodness. Excuse me. Doing a great job, but guess what? They're about to multiply. So by day 3, I still only have 2 cats, which is great. And you see now I'm getting 4 cats, and I'm getting 7 cats. I'm having to do a lot more clicking. We get this big room by day 11. Bah, bah, bah. I now have a cat that's died. I can keep going. And you see my little cat skeleton over here, or I can give up. For the purpose of this, I went ahead and just gave up so you can see where I'm at. This is how it feels to pay a high interest loan. So now we find out what it is. So basically, it's the fact that you're just always constantly trying to keep up, and you think you're doing a good job, and as soon as you get behind, things get harder. So they explain to you that a cat is the debt. Keep the amount of both low. The scoops are your payment. Giving less now will hurt worse later. A dead cat is a missed payment. It'll haunt your credit for years. Multiply rate is the interest rate, makes your debt grow faster. A bag of food is your income. Don't let debt eat it all up. Kitty karma equals a penalty, miss a payment, and you'll get hit with a fee. Kitty angel has no purpose other than to make you feel bad. So anyhow, you can have students repeat the game. This again has the opportunity to have a worksheet. The first one is, how did you pick your cat? It's the very first question. So again, I picked Tiger because it looked the most like my cat Finnegan. But if we look and we compare, so he needed 4 and multiplied at a rate of 18%. Lola requires less feeding, but multiplies faster. Izzy only needs 2 and a multiply rate of 15. So, you can talk about, well, did you research? Did you compare your cats? No, because they just picked the one that was cute. Well, what if we had picked a different cat? So you could have students do different rounds or different scenarios, and why, one cat might make more sense than another. After you've played, you can then pick the mixed litter challenge, where you don't know what you're going to get. You'll get different ones of different kinds, and that presents its own challenge. So again, there's reflection, talking about the strategy that you had. Did it work well? What would you do differently next time? And again, describe your emotions. Did you get frustrated? Did you get excited? Did you get mad or sad? What happened throughout this process? In your own words, explain how cat insanity is an analogy for debt repayment. If you had to make a real life decision involving debt, like buying a car, getting a payday loan, what would you do differently as a result of playing the game? So again, an opportunity for students to make connections into the real world, even though feeding cats doesn't necessarily seem like it's an obvious connection, but I think it's really cute. Let's see, play the game again, select a different cat, answer those. How did you choose a cat this time? What was your final outcome? Did you change your strategy? Explain. All right, resource number 3, also from NGPF, is Payback. Payback has been out a little bit longer, and this one is on simulating college living and financing decisions. I love this game. I think it's really cool. It gives students the opportunity to make lots of different choices. So they go through, they start out like they're, basically this time of year for students that just graduated, they're facing going to college, and or actually it sort of starts in the senior year here, where it's time to apply for college. You get to pick, from the drop down, what's your GPA, how many extracurriculars are you involved in, what's your home state, and then you click apply. So for this case, I chose a GPA of 3.3 to 3.6, medium level of extracurriculars, and I live in Pennsylvania, and I'm given a choice. Yay, I got 4 decision letters. I was accepted at an in-state, out-of-state public schools, a private school, and a community college. You'll notice that each one has different levels of prestige, cost, and how much aid you were provided. So you can see the difference there. You get to choose then which one, where will you go? So for the sake of this one, I chose the in-state public school. Yay, Pennsylvania Bells. I'm now a Bell. You'll be saving a ton of money on tuition, and you're still close enough to come home on the weekends. Not too bad. Continue. So with every choice students make, they get some kind of a feedback. And there's lots of different choices. So this is still summer. Your friend is throwing one last pool party before college starts, but your neighbor offered you $100 for a few hours of work. Which one do you do? Make the cash or make memories? You get to college, you'll have to eat. Choose your meal plan. Which one are you going to do? What do you need to buy before going? So these are all decisions you make before even the freshman year begins. Freshman year starts. One of the choices, making a job can help offset your expenses. How many hours a week do you want to work? Throughout the game, you get pluses and minuses in each category. So one is focus. You need to keep up with your classes. So the more that you work, the less you'll be able to focus on your classes. And the next one is on connections. It's all about who you know. So is it going to allow you to have time and build friendships, or is it going to decrease that? And then happiness. All work and no play is no way to live. So if all you ever do is make the wisest choice where you're earning money, then chances are good that your happiness score is going to go down and your connection score is going to go down. So every choice has positive and negative influences in different ways. And then finally, the debt. Every penny you spend now, you'll have to pay back later. So this continues to accumulate as you go through. So again, 4 years, you make different decisions. This one, you make a decision about your major. This comes up again later and is very important. Junior year, there's different, there was a choice about whether or not you want to live on campus or move out off campus, in which case you're going to be making some of your own meals. You have some choices there. This is senior year, last spring break you'll ever have. How will you celebrate? So you get some ideas. You made it to graduation. Some people, by the way, don't make it to graduation because of the choices that they make. So getting to graduation in this game is one of the first pieces. So at the end, you're shown, so in this case, I won, which was great. I made some pretty smart choices. Overall, my student loan debt was $44,593, and my starting salary based on the university that I chose and the major that I selected was $53,488. So in this case, the general rule of thumb is your student loan debt should be less than your starting salary, and I managed to do that. So that was a good thing. On a monthly basis, that comes down to a monthly loan payment of $473 and a monthly paycheck of $267 for. So students can see it either as an overall or on a month-to-month basis. And again, they can play again, making different decisions if they want. As before, there's a student worksheet. So this one encourages 2 rounds. So they're going to keep track of things like what school, what was their living arrangements, will you work, what was their major, their final debt amount, starting salary, paycheck amount, estimated monthly student loan payment, what percentage of your paycheck is used to pay your student loan debt. So that's something that they'll have to calculate on their own because that's not provided to them. Then they're gonna do it a second time. This time choose a different scenario so they can make different choices and they can see what the impact of that is. And again, reflection questions. What 2 lessons did you learn? What were the factors that you considered in choosing a college the first time you played? Did that change the second time? Did you find it difficult to balance the 3 factors? The happiness, focus, and connections. Describe a decision you made and how it impacted each of these. What impact do you think GPA and extracurriculars might have on the college you attend and how much you will have to pay? So that GPA and extracurriculars at the beginning does impact how much aid you're going to receive or in the game. If you were the game designers, what 2 changes would you make? And so on. So attitudes about student loans. Do you think this is actually a good reflection? What have you? So, and then talking about that rule of thumb, and then how can you use this experience in the real world? There's, I think this is really neat. When they released this, they did an NGPF payback challenge where they challenged students to write essays and that had completed it. And so there's a podcast where Tim Ranzetta, the head of NGPF, talks to some of the winners. There's part 1 and part 2. So I'd encourage you, if you want to see what high school students came out of this knowing, you could listen to one or both of those. All right, we are moving on to resource number 4, and I am running out of breath, but Shady Sam is the last one that we're going to share from NGPF. This is where you get to play the role of a loan shark. So here's your office. You have mail. Hi there, Hillary. Welcome to your first day of work at Shady Sam's. Your job is to make as much money as possible off the backs of hardworking Americans. How? By issuing loans that make us hefty profit. Customers will come in with requests. You get 3 loans to choose from. Offer the one that will make the most money. Okay, so it's going to show you what those look like. So it shows the monthly payment, the interest rate, the term, and then afterwards, you can figure out which one makes the most. So, hey, Hillary, some bozo ran a stop sign and T-boned me and yada, yada, yada. I need a new car. It's going to be $18,500. Help me out. See loan options. So we have a monthly payment of $447.31 or monthly payment of $455.99, monthly payment of $438. You see the different interest rates and terms. So your job, remember, you're not the consumer in this case. You're the person trying to make the money. So I chose the one in the middle. And yes, that was the one that actually makes us the most profit. So yay, I'm a great employee. I am sticking it to this consumer though. Okay, so here comes Diego. Diego needs $2,000 for a new washer and dryer. I don't even like laundry and now I have to spend all this money on it. Ugh. So again, different choices. All right, I did pretty well. I picked the one that is going to make the most profit. Hillary, as you can see, the job is pretty simple. People only pay attention to the monthly payment, so we can mess with the interest rates and term links to maximize our profit. It's amazing what you can get away with. You've made maximum profit so far. Your hard work deserves a reward. You can choose one of the following. Keep making that money. I chose the little lamp on the desk. See, there it is. All right. Hey, Hillary, my paycheck doesn't clear till Friday, but I have to pay rent tomorrow. Can I buy borrow $345 to time me over? Well, 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 look at what we found here, a payday loan opportunity. These poor folks are living paycheck to paycheck with no other choices but good old Shady Sam, and you can get them to agree to basically anything. And get this, since it's such a small amount in the short term, we'll charge a fee instead of interest. The best part, if you do the math, that measly fee can be something like a 700% interest rate. Good thing nobody does the math except us. I have a feeling that won't be the last we see of Denise. Cha-ching, Sam. Congrats, Hillary, you're a real winner. I'm proud that I hired you. You've got what it takes to rip folks off and not even blink twice. That's why they call you Callous Hillary now. Shady Sam and Callous Hillary, what a duo we make. You've made $295,511.13, as I think together we'll make much more. Great job. So this is at the very end of the game. I skipped a lot of different scenarios because you would encounter lots more in order to make that much money for your great, wonderful new boss. Clock out. All right, so I got a $5 shark rating. I am a great loan shark. When lenders make more, borrowers lose. Pay attention to the terms, do your research, read all the fine print, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I think this is a really clever game because it really sort of turns things around and puts students in the sort of the other seat, and I think opens their eyes to sort of how consumers look at things and how those who might profit look at things. And so again, opportunity to reflect, fill out some information so that you as the educator know how they did at the end, and then answer some questions. So what was the goal? As the game says, most borrowers only pay attention to the monthly payment. Why do you think this is? How does this benefit the lender? Notice a pattern that allowed you to maximize. So looking at the terms and what have you, which loan created a habit where the borrower kept coming back, the adjustable rate mortgage, and again, the emotional state. How do you feel about the total profits you made with Shady Sam? What are 3 takeaways you learned from playing it that'll help you as a borrower in the future? All right, last two resources here in our few minutes remaining. Claim Your Future. This one is from a different resource, the Financial Authority of Maine, otherwise known as FAME. Sorry, I won't sing the song from the old television show. Okay, Claim Your Future, FAME. We have this awesome set of resources. We have the ability to come in with an ID if you've played before, or if you're a new player, you get to select your grade. Are you playing this game as a classroom assignment, yes or no? You're given a choice of taking the pre-assessment. A lot of these are attitude sorts of stuff and a little bit of knowledge questions, but you can choose to not participate in the pre-game assessment if you wish. Gives you your game ID, make note of it so you can come back to finish the game or to play again. How to play, your career will be randomly assigned to you, or you can choose your own. Review your job description, education requirements, and available monthly income. Create a monthly spending plan to pay for housing, food, transportation, communications, and extras. Think about wants and needs. Try to have some money to spare. So in this case, I was randomly selected to be a construction manager. As you can see on the right, there's lots of different choices that can be made in terms of career. So for this one, I chose to be an elementary school teacher. It shows annual income of $52,940, monthly income of $2,588, requires a bachelor's degree and 4 years of college. So in this case, I can then start off with, it starts with savings. So saving money each month is important. 10% of your monthly income has automatically been set aside to cover emergency or unexpected expenses. So they take that right off the top, which is a nice lesson for students. Then they select housing, pick which one they want to do. Then they choose food, transportation, communications. This one's the extras. So lots of different choices that students are going to make. At the very top here, you can see where it shows how much money they have left based on the decisions that they've made. So I did pretty well in this. I was pretty modest in my selections. I had money left over at the end of each month. So they can also take a look at their overall budget, print that out, start over, or they can log out. It comes with an educator guide that has some good resources. There's a budget worksheet. Personally, I think this probably would work really well at the middle school level, but you could certainly also use it sort of as an introductory activity at the high school level as well. In addition to this, they do have hard copy version where each of the careers then is a wheel. So students select a physical wheel from this and turn it and make selections there based on that annual income, and that's another neat way to do it. Those are a little bit pricey. If you live in Maine, which we don't, they're free. Outside of the state, it's $2.99 plus about $10 in shipping, so a little over $300 for a one-time purchase to receive those, or you can just have the students play the online version, which is free. They have a short webinar, about 16 minutes, that goes over it as well for teachers. Last but not least, this resource, probably a lot of you are familiar with. This one is from Visa, Practical Money Skills for Life. There is financial football and financial soccer. The financial football one just got updated. It is like, even, I don't know, it's like Madden-esque. Like, you know, it used to be cool, but it's even cooler now in terms of the 3D interactives. Look and feel, it looks a lot more like what students, you know, who are used to playing on an Xbox or PlayStation or what have you are more used to. Really impressive graphics on this. Again, this is from Visa, but it is in partnership with the NFL. The game format, answer questions and progress in the game. It is available online, or you can download it in Mac, Windows, or you can get it as an app in the App Store on Apple or Android. So as you're waiting, if you're just going to play online, it gives you some interesting little tips. Then you can play the game. You can choose to play single player, go head to head with another team. You can decide how long you want to spend. Great for, you know, choosing how long you have in your game, in your class period. I chose head-to-head in a quick game for this one of 5 minutes, and of course I chose the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a a coin toss. You get to pick. Steelers select to kick off or receive. There's different, as the 28 return. Each one of these, you get a different different categories and different levels. So the easier the question, the less you'll gain in terms of yardage. The harder they are, the more you can get. But again, they're going to be harder and more of a challenge to get right. Financial football is kind of similar. This is done in partnership with FIFA. It is the men's as opposed to the women who are in the World Cup right now, but whatever. You again can go single player head to head, different levels as there were in financial football as well. It's based on the level of the questions. And going back to the football one, there's different plays that you can select, different questions, and you're kind of going to get similar things on both of them. So it's very similar questions and kind of the similar types of things. In soccer, you're choosing whether or not you're going to, in some cases, try and pass the ball, if you're going to go ahead and try and score. It just varies. So again, really cool graphics, especially on the more 3D here on the football than on the soccer. So in the end, because I played the quick game, there was no, the final score was 0-0. If you had longer, there's more of an ability for both teams to score. So again, both of them different choices. Here with financial soccer, I chose Brazil and Argentina. And again, similar kind of thing with questions, easy, medium, hard, what have you. Okay, I've got just a few minutes left. I managed to get through this. Pretty excited. All right, we have one bonus resource to share. So got through six plus one. So this is a brand new game that's coming out from NGPF called Credit Clash. Just curious, folks that are on the line, how many of you have seen this one? So Credit Clash is, I'm trying to get to my participant list. Here we go. Raise your hand if you have seen this one. This one's a brand new one. All right, I'm not seeing anybody going up yet. All right, this has really just been released in beta. So with this one, you're trying to work on your credit score. So in this case, you're jotting down the results, and then there's, oh, I see one person's raised their hand. Awesome, Kelly's seen this one. In this one, what types of debt did you take out while playing the game? What actions helped your credit score? Did any of your loans go into collections? What advantages does the player with the higher credit score have throughout the game? What 2 lessons did you learn by playing this game that you could apply to your real life to help you manage your credit? So this one I think is a more complex gameplay, and I'm going to be really curious to see how this rolls out. Again, it's still in beta and they're fine-tuning it, but it's another one that I think is really fun. And as you look forward to the upcoming school year, I think this one will certainly be full-fledged, ready for use in classrooms. I know some schools that are still in school up until like last week were using it and testing it with their students and making refinements based off the feedback. So anyhow, that is just one more resource. So I'm hopeful that you will take some time throughout the summer to maybe go online, try some of these out. When you complete the evaluation for our session today, one of the questions is how likely are you to explore each of these, and I'll be curious to see which ones sort of rise to the top in terms of your interest in the topics. So we talked about build your stacks with investing. The cat insanity has to do with credit. We talked about some shady, which has to do do with debt. The financial football and soccer are great for reviews, and the one from Fame is great on careers. And I know I'm missing one that we talked about, and they'll come to me in a second. But anyhow, it covers a lot of different topics, and hopefully will help you to spice up some of those lessons that you have throughout the year, and engage your students in a way that's a lot of fun. So thank you so much for participating. I'm glad that you could be with us,